In the world of Westeros, characters have long faced treacherous floods, collapsing walls, and forces of nature that no army can defeat. But this spring, reality has delivered a disaster more dramatic than anything George R.R. Martin could have scripted. Reports have emerged that the production of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms Season 2, one of HBO's most anticipated returning series, has been brought to a standstill by catastrophic flooding linked to Storm Therese, which caused Las Niñas Dam to overflow and submerge large portions of the show's elaborate production sets in Gran Canaria, Spain's Canary Islands. For a franchise already defined by its ability to conjure epic spectacle, the sudden halt is a sobering reminder that even the mightiest productions are at the mercy of the real world. According to reports, the flooding triggered by the storm was the most severe the region has experienced in approximately 15 years, catching the production team at a particularly vulnerable moment. Filming had been well underway, with the majority of Season 2's footage already captured. What was supposed to be a triumphant final stretch before a June 2026 wrap has instead become a logistical and environmental crisis, and one that HBO has notably declined to address publicly. Before understanding what is at stake with the Season 2 disruption, it helps to appreciate just how much A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms means to HBO and to fans of the broader Westeros universe. Based on George R.R. Martin's beloved tales of Dunk and Egg novellas, a series of prequel stories set roughly a century before the events of Game of Thrones. The show follows the unlikely partnership of Ser Duncan the Tall, known as Dunk, a humble hedge knight of low birth, and Aegon Targaryen, known as Egg, a young prince traveling incognito through a turbulent Westeros. When Season 1 premiered, there was considerable pressure on the production. After the polarizing conclusion of Game of Thrones in 2019 and the mixed reception of certain elements of House of the Dragon, the franchise needed a win. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms delivered one emphatically. The series averaged over 24 million viewers per episode, a figure that placed it among HBO's most-watched premieres in recent memory, and earned a Rotten Tomatoes score of approximately 94%, drawing near-universal praise for its warmth, character writing, and intimate scale relative to its predecessor series. Critics celebrated the show for doing something rare in the franchise, slowing down, allowing two characters to breathe and grow across a landscape that felt lived in and grounded. Season 1 of Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is currently available to stream on HBO Max for those who want to revisit or discover what all the excitement is about. The area experienced rainfall levels not seen in approximately 15 years, causing severe flooding that, according to reports, submerged the production's elaborate outdoor sets. Production on Season 2 had already traversed considerable geographical ground before disaster struck. Filming originally began in Belfast, Northern Ireland, a location with deep roots in the franchise's history, having served as the primary production base for Game of Thrones for much of its run. Belfast Titanic Studios and its surrounding landscape have long provided the atmospheric backdrops and world-class facilities that the Westeros universe demands. From Belfast, the production subsequently relocated to Gran Canaria in Spain's Canary Islands, a stunning archipelago off the northwest coast of Africa known for its dramatically varied terrain, from volcanic mountains and pine forests to sweeping sandy plains that can stand in convincingly for a medieval fantasy landscape. Gran Canaria in particular has attracted major international film and television productions in recent years, offering a compelling combination of unique geography, reliable weather, and logistical infrastructure. It is that last element, reliable weather, that proved catastrophically elusive. When Storm Therese made landfall and pushed catastrophic rainfall into the region surrounding Las Niñas Dam, the production was caught in the middle of what sources suggest was its final phase of filming. The area experienced rainfall levels not seen in approximately 15 years, causing severe flooding that, according to reports, submerged the production's elaborate outdoor sets. The scale of the inundation was such that the production could not simply wait out the water and resume. The sets were reportedly compromised in a way that required a formal response. According to reports, the The situation has imposed obligations on the production team that extend well beyond simply resuming filming. Sources indicate that the production team has been required to submit a formal action plan to safely remove the set infrastructure once water levels recede to a point that makes such work feasible. This adds a layer of bureaucratic and environmental complexity to what is already an operationally complicated situation. Perhaps most striking among the reported details is the environmental dimension of the flooding's aftermath. Reports claim that as part of the environmental compensation measures associated with the incident, the production has been required to plant approximately 50 Canary Island pine trees, a native species of particular ecological significance in the region. The Canary Island pine, Pinus canariensis, is a remarkably resilient tree uniquely adapted to the volcanic terrain and periodic fires of the archipelago. Its inclusion as a remediation measure reflects the environmental sensitivity of the filming location and the responsibility placed on large productions operating within it. The requirement to reforest as part of the production's environmental obligations is an unusual and noteworthy detail, and one that speaks to the broader scrutiny major film and television productions now face regarding their ecological footprint, particularly when filming in protected or ecologically sensitive regions. Season 1 premiere. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms debuts to massive critical and audience acclaim, averaging 24M plus viewers and a 94% Rotten Tomatoes score. Season 2 production begins. Filming commences in Belfast, Northern Ireland, before moving to Gran Canaria in Spain's Canary Islands for the primary production phase. Storm Therese strikes. Catastrophic flooding linked to Storm Therese and Las Niñas Dam submerges production sets in Gran Canaria. Rainfall levels not seen in 15 years reported. Shutdown reported. Reports emerge of a production halt. The team must submit an action plan for safe set removal. 50 Canary Island pine trees are to be planted as environmental compensation. 2027 release date. Under threat? HBO originally targeted 2027 for Season 2, with filming expected to wrap by June 2026 now uncertain. Post-production timelines face potential compression or delay. The timing of the flooding carries a particular sting because, by most accounts, Season 2 was tantalizingly close to completion. Reports suggest that the majority of filming had already been accomplished before the storm struck, with the production originally on track to finish by June 2026. HBO had reportedly set its sights on a 2027 release window for the second season, an ambitious but plausible target given the post-production pipeline that a prestige fantasy series of this scale requires. The flooding now introduces a significant variable into that calculus. Depending on how long water levels remain elevated, how extensive the damage to the production sets is, and how much, if any, additional filming may be required to complete the season, the 2027 target could be placed under genuine strain. While the production reportedly had the bulk of its footage in the can, even relatively modest reshoots or supplemental location work could push the delivery timeline out in ways that cascade through HBO's programming schedule. Post-production on a series of this visual complexity, encompassing visual effects, sound design, color grading, score recording, and the countless other elements that transform raw footage into polished prestige television, is itself a considerable undertaking. Any compression of the time available for that work, or any requirement to return to physical production, risks the quality that audiences have come to expect from the franchise. Whatever the ultimate impact of the flooding on Season 2's timeline, it arrives at a moment when the long-term ambitions for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms have never been more explicitly stated. Showrunner Ira Parker has spoken publicly about plans for the series that dwarf almost any other prestige television project currently in development. Parker has discussed the potential for the show to run between 12 and 15 seasons in total, tracing the life of Egg from his childhood adventures with Dunk all the way through to his adulthood. That ambition is rooted in the source material itself. Martin's Dunk and Egg novellas, though currently numbering only 3 completed entries, span decades of the characters' lives and are set against the backdrop of Westeros' tumultuous transition from the reign of the Targaryens toward the era that would eventually produce Game of Thrones. The story has room, vast room, to breathe, and Parker and HBO appear committed to following it wherever it leads, however many seasons that requires. In that context, a production disruption, even a dramatic one caused by historic flooding, is, in the grand scheme, a delay rather than a derailment. The investment HBO has made in the world of Westeros and the audience appetite that Season 1 so clearly demonstrated suggests that the network will do whatever is necessary to see the season through. The question is when, not whether. The reported shutdown of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms Season 2 arrives, an interesting moment for prestige fantasy television broadly. The genre has seen enormous investment from every major streaming platform and network over the past several years, with the post-Game of Thrones landscape producing House of the Dragon, The Rings of Power, The Wheel of Time, and numerous other high-budget attempts to capture the same devoted audience that Martin's saga cultivated over a decade. Against that crowded backdrop, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms distinguished itself in Season 1 not through scale, but through intimacy, a deliberate choice to tell a smaller, warmer, more character-driven story within a universe fans already love. That choice paid off magnificently, and it suggests that whatever temporary setbacks the production may be navigating now, the creative foundation is solid enough to weather them. For fans watching from afar, the flooding in Gran Canaria is a reminder of how many unpredictable forces shape the stories that eventually reach their screens. Season 1 of Knight of the Seven Kingdoms remains available on HBO Max. A worthwhile revisit while the realm waits for water to recede, sets to be safely dismantled, pine trees to be planted, and the long road to Season 2 to resume.